Well, here's a shock. Amazon's getting sued for monopolistic behavior. And I want to talk about it. If you go and check some of the older videos on this channel, you'll know that I have talked quite a bit about Amazon, their business practices, their culture, and I also used to talk a lot in my vlogs and in my podcast about monopolies, specifically Google being a monopoly and the EU going after Google. And I'm going to admit that as I get older, as I learn more about some of these business practices, my original position about Amazon being a monopoly or Google being a monopoly, I'm not going to say that it's changed, but I'm not going to say that I feel the same way. I feel like we're in the middle of a transition, and depending on how things go, I may shift my position. Initially, I've always said that my view of a monopoly is a business hoarding assets or creating an environment where they are driving up costs for consumers. And because of that definition, and this is a definition that the FTC and the DOJ also, well, the DOJ used to take that position. The FTC is not taking that position anymore. But basically, if you're not costing consumers more, it's not a monopoly. And that's the position I took with Google, as they've provided free services and drove costs down, and the same with Amazon. But the current chairperson of the FTC, Lina Khan, famously wrote a paper about Amazon being a monopoly while she was still a student at Harvard. Her position was that Amazon was taking their market position, their market leadership, and their vast superiority as an online engine and online portal to undercut their competitors. So they were effectively making themselves cheaper, potentially at a loss, but they could sustain the loss longer and drive their competition out of business. So she'd written this paper. It caught several Democrats' eyes. It caught Biden's eye when he reached the presidency, and they made her the chair of the FTC. And at the time, she had made a comment that basically said, I don't know if we could successfully sue them as a monopoly if they are driving costs down. So Khan and the FTC had to take a different tact when they formally sued Amazon on September 26th. Their position now is focusing on advertising and their effect on their competitors, not necessarily the consumers, but there's an after effect to the consumers. Not only is Amazon's marketplace the dominant marketplace, but those companies that sell their products in the marketplace are at a disadvantage because they are effectively locked in. And they have to buy into Amazon's advertising to get positioning on the search engine. So if you type in shoes, like if you're not paying them to be the top, first page for shoes, you're probably not going to get the business. So you have to pay an extra to the advertising function to make sure that your products are getting the right level of visibility. And they're also saying that if you aren't agreeing to give Amazon the absolute cheapest price, so let's say you sell your products on Walmart too, Amazon has to be the cheapest or there will be additional penalties incurred against the supplier. In the filings, the comment was made that the experience on Amazon.com has gotten considerably worse because they're flooding the site with ads that these advertisers have to pay for, so it goes to the highest bidder. So the experience for the consumer is much worse on Amazon. The experience for the consumer is worse because you have to pay higher prices with other vendors, other online vendors, and that is how Amazon has effectively become a monopoly. And my light just went out. So I have a personal example of this that I think helps resonate some of the problems people may be feeling or witnessing with Amazon. Because I'm into camera gear and I do a lot of videography, I'm a fan of a bag company called Peak Design. They make great products. They have really cool designs. They make a lot of camera bags. Now they're expanding into other stuff. A couple of years ago, Amazon copied one of their technology pouches. So they had this pouch that you could put all of your wires and batteries and whatnot into. And all of a sudden, people were making comments and posts that Amazon had a very, very similar product. Now here's the problem. Peak Design sold their products on Amazon. So not only does Amazon have some visibility into the demographics and the sales numbers and all of this other stuff, once they see who's buying Peak Design products, they also now know how to target them. In addition to having all of this information, Amazon has a series of their own products. They have their own companies making similar products, t-shirts, shoes, clothing, home goods. If you're selling products on Amazon and you're paying them for advertising, and then they take that information and they use it against you to make competing products, that's a bit of a problem in my opinion. I think that there is a legitimate issue there. And recently, Amazon started selling off or eliminating those home good brands. And I think it's because they knew this lawsuit was coming. But Lina Khan also has critics. There are a lot of people that are saying that her brand of the FTC is starting to overstep. They're starting to engage in lawsuits that they know they can't win. And Khan herself, when she took the job from Biden, said she wants to have a more aggressive version of the FTC, a more aggressive version that is going after companies, bringing them into lawsuits, even if they know they can't win. So it's something that's been stated as almost a goal to let companies know that the FTC has more teeth. But there are a lot of people saying that the FTC is overstepping and that they should not be engaging in lawsuits that they know that they can't win. I should also add that Lina Khan is not infallible. She's already lost two major cases, one with Microsoft regarding their acquisition of Activision, the gaming company, and then also they lost a lawsuit against Meta, formerly Facebook, when they tried to acquire some kind of virtual reality company. They were allowed to move forward with that. And let it be known that this is going to be a very difficult lawsuit to win. As I said in my opening statements, what is a monopoly? Traditionally, it's viewed as something or an entity that causes consumers to pay more for goods and services. Amazon has consistently demonstrated year over year that they bring costs down. Has something changed? Potentially. In 2017, Amazon made about $178 billion in advertising. Last year, they made over $500 billion. So their advertising plays have drastically changed the way the company does business. So there is a potential line that Amazon's crossing because they are dipping into multiple buckets. If I was a vendor on Amazon's platforms, I would feel a little unsure about them. I would feel a little shaky about putting my products on a platform where they can gather all of my sales information and then potentially make a competing product and put me out of business. The question is, can Lina Khan and the FTC make a compelling case that a judge is going to agree that Amazon is abusing their position and it's impacting customers and their pocketbooks? I would not have been able to articulate my positions on this video without the work of good journalism. So just a highlight and then some verbal citations. I referenced a couple of Wall Street Journal articles written by Dan Gallagher and Dave Michaels. I also referenced an article from the New York Times by Cecilia King about the losses that Lina Khan has suffered to this point. The purpose of this video is to understand upcoming market conditions. We have a more aggressive FTC that may be impacting mergers and acquisitions that could be coming with multiple technology companies and companies in general. But that being said, there's also weakness in these lawsuits. Whereas before, when a monopoly case came up with the FTC or with the DOJ, it was rare that these lawsuits were lost. It's rare that the government lost in these situations because they picked their battles. And now if they are more haphazardly going after companies to send a message, it could embolden the companies to fight back because they know they have a chance to win. So thank you for watching this video this week. Hopefully you found it interesting. Hopefully you found it informative. And I will be back with another video in 2 weeks. Take care.